Chaz, how are you doing, man? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, man. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Where are you located?
I'm in Kansas City. How about you?
Are you in I am in Kansas City too. I'm here in Grandview.
Really? I'm
Yes.
I'm like in between Grandview and Martin City.
Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm literally
Yeah.
at Martin City Middle School right now.
That's hilarious.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm an
I
IT I'm an IT technician for a school for the Grandview School District.
That's hilarious. Wow. Way small world. I've had several people on my show that, we don't realize until they get through kind of like the intro process that they're in Kansas City. So it's just kind of funny when you're on Zoom and,
Yes.
probably just, 2 miles away.
I could probably launch a football and you might hear it hit the ground.
That's right. That's right. You could for sure shoot a weapon and I would hear it.
Yes, exactly. Well, man, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out for the show. And I want to start our conversation off with everything that we've lived through for the last 3.5 years, which has been COVID. How did you get through it, and how has it changed you?
For sure. I mean, you're right. We've lived through some interesting times. And I would say that the biggest change for me has just been I've launched new things, and so it has been a catalyst, I guess, in many ways. I have many businesses that have thrived through that. It wasn't always like that. I remember, in the first few weeks of everything, that it was quite daunting actually to think about how, what, when, who, all those things. But we were able to make it through. I have retail franchises, so that was quite interesting during some of those moments. But some of the new businesses that we've launched in the midst of all that have been just incredible. So I take it as a leaf that turned over, and the old Chaz is gone. 2.0 is here to stay, or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, since I'm here locally, what are some businesses that you've launched?
Yeah, so we actually have most of my businesses are not here in Kansas City. I do have a remodeling company here in Kansas City, King's Collective.
Okay.
We do basements and bathrooms, additions, major home remodels, that type of thing. Also, commercial. We've done several commercial projects as far as build outs and such. But a lot of my businesses are in other cities and or real estate properties and or my main business right now. My main business that takes my focus, my attention is what I believe I'm made for, which is gathering the kings. And so that's an online mastermind, but we've got clients from all over the country. We get together a couple times a year in person and we do major events, but it's not exclusive just to Kansas City.
So let me ask you this. Let's boil down exactly what you do for a living. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's career day.
Yeah.
And a kid looks up and says, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Yeah. The funny thing is that I've taught at Career Day the last 2 years at my kids' school, and I teach them how to invest.
Okay. So what did you want to be when you were in the third grade? What was your dream?
I don't know. Maybe as a basketball player. I don't know if I ever thought about it like that, really.
Yeah.
Growing up single mom family, I think it was just more, I wanted to play ball. I wanted to do well at school, but it was more, I think, I don't want to say survival, because in third grade, I wasn't, actively participating in taking care of the family, but it wasn't long after that I was much more of a partner in the house as opposed to a son. And so I look back on those things now and it's like, was I really thinking about what I wanted to be? Probably not. I probably kind of skipped over some of the boyhood and went straight for just, how do I win? How do I survive? And then how do I win?
So let's go back to the beginnings. Where were you born and raised, and how were these seeds put in you to be an entrepreneur and to want to excel the way you have?
Yeah. Well, grew up Columbia, Missouri, and so not too far from here. And like I said, single mom family. And so, yeah, a lot of those seeds that were planted were, figuring things out. It's probably a good way to say it. And, sometimes sometimes we had not, and so I think that just like any other person that's, been raised by a single parent and or been in situations where finances aren't always readily available, that it makes you have a perspective of gratefulness, number one, for the things that you do have. And then number two, of like, well, no one's coming. So Joe, if if Chaz wants something, I've got to go get it because no one's coming to save the day. And that's transcended even into, my business initially, 12 years ago. And then that turned into multiple businesses. And I've always seen myself as a serial entrepreneur or investor. And so I've always taken a high level approach, but really that comes down from, look, no one's coming. No one is coming.
Yeah. That's for sure. So I always have to explain to people about Kansas City. A lot of people on this platform haven't been here. But as a local, what do you like the best about Kansas City?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, right now it's pretty obvious that the Chiefs are the talk of the town, have been for a while, and Mahomes and Kelsey, live not too far from here, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the obvious answer. I think that what strikes home for me, which again with me with my podcast and our group and me traveling across the country, I've got businesses in other cities. I get to meet a lot of people from a lot of different parts of the world, and the people of Kansas City or the people of the Midwest, really, like because we could expand that out. There is a down to earth, a humble, regular Joe, to play on the name here a little bit that you just don't get in other places. And I'll give you two examples. About 12 years ago, I opened up a business here in Kansas City, and it was a franchise. And one of the folks that was from the corporate office that was in the Northeast, they came down for a specific time of the year, and he was kind of helping me navigate. It was one of my first times during the year. It was kind of a busy time. Long story short, I asked him after we were done what he felt like was the most difference or a different thing, Kansas City to the Northeast. And he was like, well, everybody said please and thank you. And he's like, as shocking or as simple as that might sound, he's like, we just don't. We don't have time for that, whatever that looks like. And then just the other day, I was talking about Kansas City with somebody, and it's like they were here. Oh, it was a Lions fan. I had him on my podcast, actually, is what it was. And he came to Kansas City for the Lions Chiefs game. And he was like, it was the most, Arrowhead, it's the hype, it's the best tailgate in the NFL is what everybody says. And he was like, but I walked around. Not only it was an incredible tailgate, but I had all these Chiefs. He's like, there's the ones that are like, not interested in hanging out. But he's like, for the vast majority, like 90+%, hey, come over here. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for traveling in. Like it was just regular people making, in this case, a great game. But I kind of translate that into business, and it's like I'm a regular guy doing extraordinary things, because I don't like average. I don't like regular.
Yeah.
But I put my pants on like everybody else, and I think everybody else in Kansas City kind of feels the same way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a great descriptor. Who's been a hero for you in your life? Who's been a motivator?
Good question. When I was a kid, I was a huge Michael Jordan fan. I said I wanted to be a ball player, and so I think Jordan for a long time represented what champions represent. And so right now, I would have to say, if I had to pinpoint a name, I'd probably say Alex Hormozy. He's a big name in marketing and business right now. I've been on a lot of podcasts and has a couple of books out. And so, getting him on my podcast, getting some time around him would be pretty amazing. But for now, I read the books, I listen to the content, and I'm trying to learn from a distance. I'm a big fan of mentors and not necessarily always having the mentors know your name. And I'm not opposed to Alex knowing my name. I will know him and he will know me at some point. But in between that time, that doesn't mean that I can't be absorbing and letting him mentor me from books, content, whatever it is that I can get my hands on.
So you may have already answered my next question, which is, if you can meet and talk to anybody on the planet, who would it be?
Ooh, that's so interesting. That could be Alex. That I will make that happen somehow. To go a little further out, as far as like, who would be super interesting, maybe, who maybe isn't like directly, I don't know. Trump comes to mind for some reason. I don't know why, other than that's just a big name, and that would be super interesting. I think just the perspective of knowing something behind the scenes, if you will, because right. We all see. I mean, I've been a part of a pretty large influencer, and I got behind the scenes, and he was the same person behind the scenes as he was on camera, and I think a lot of people wonder that. Yeah. And so obviously Trump's just the biggest version of that, regardless of politics or opinions. to know what he's like when the camera's off and if it's the same. Because a lot of times what I have found is that they are the same. Sometimes they're not, and it's a a shake, rattle and roll type of thing. But I think for a lot of folks, the camera is on enough where it's like you can't really hide.
Yeah, that's for sure. I would think so. So what is your motivation? What is the thing that gets you out of bed every day, that motivates you to do the work and to succeed the way you have?
Yeah, great question. I'm pretty succinct in this answer, so I thought about it quite a bit, and I would suggest for anybody listening to this that it shouldn't just be, my family, or I want to make money, or whatever that traditional, like really surface level, answer is. My family is a part of that. Money is a part of that. But for me, it's twofold. One, I'll go the family route. It's legacy for me. And what is legacy to me, which means I'm building multiple generations, 3 generations of wealth and knowledge of what to do with it. So that comes down to self-confidence. That comes down to knowledge. That comes down to assets versus liabilities. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I get to do with my kids and my grandkids, all the while doing real estate and business deals, and then teaching them how to do the same. I get super excited about doing deals, building my family mission and family net worth with my grandkids, who, all my kids are 9 and under right now. So it's like, this is a very far future thought that I'm completely obsessed with. The other prong for my why is I get to build business disciples. And I've always been somebody who wants to pour out. That's why I'm here on the show right now, because there's somebody possibly listening who just needed a little bit of courage, and they could find out that a guy named Chaz in Kansas City grew up single mom family, had absolutely nothing to his name, became a millionaire at 29 and able to have multiple businesses in different states, all because of what? Well, because he wanted to. That's why. And you can too, right? So I get to do that now, not only just because of the connections that I've made and the teams that I've built, but through Gathering the Kings, the mastermind group that I was just telling you about. It is a literal way where we're gathering business owners together in different sizes, different ways, different event styles, where we get to pour into people, and then they in turn have a greater impact in their family, their community, their business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So of all of the things that you've done professionally, what's one of the best success stories?
Well, I think success is subjective, right? Like it depends on how you define the word.
Yeah.
I could tell you about, a business that I purchased that everybody told me not to, that's made me a lot of money, right? I could tell you about a scenario where the business, or this piece of real estate that I purchased, although turned out great, the scenario through the process gave me time with my family, right? And some people would consider that success. And so I don't know how to answer the question, because success is subjective. What I'm trying to do is do those 2 things that I just told you. I'm trying to build wealth and make sure that it's 3 generations worth, and then also, connect my family mission, which includes my kids, my grandkids, to what that looks like and what that means for them after I'm long gone, and then pour into as many entrepreneurs as I possibly can. So for me, I'm doing that right now, like literally right now. And then also just in my life, like I'm living the life that I want to live currently, even though I still see it being much, much bigger, much, much more impactful.
So who's your favorite entrepreneur? We see all these business success stories that exist out there, but what's one of them that really has always been special to you?
Ooh. Well, I'm a big Think and Grow Rich fan, and so there's a couple of names that come to mind. Obviously, Andrew Carnegie is the kind of the mentor to Napoleon Hill, but he also interviewed a lot of people. And so one of the people that he interviewed that arguably could be the most powerful man of all time was Henry Ford. And there's just a lot that Henry Ford did that nobody else was doing, and extends all the way back down to how he thought. And he just did not allow other people to put limitations on what he thought was possible. And so again, coming from a single mom family, coming from nothing given to me, like I had to believe that something greater than what I could see around me was possible for me. And so when I see like a Henry Ford, going repeatedly to his engineering team saying, no, we're going to create a V8. And they're like, yeah, but we've been working on it for the last 6 months, and it's just not possible. He said, I will have the engine. I'll see you back in 6 months. And he comes back again and, hey, we've been working on it, but we just can't figure it out. We can't figure it out. He's like, great. So we've eliminated some more options. I will have this engine. I'll see you back in another 6 months, or whatever the specific language was. I'm not an engine guy. So you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's inspiring to me. It's like, no. I'm not going to allow you to put your limiting beliefs on me, because really anything that I can conceive that my heart will also follow with belief and like emotion, I can have it.
Yeah. So Chaz, if you have a dream tonight, you run into a 20-year-old version of yourself, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've led, the wisdom you've gained, what advice would you give your young self?
Buy Apple. No.
Right. Are you kidding?
Buy Apple, buy Tesla.
Yeah.
Buy Bitcoin.
Yes.
It's funny because I asked a similar question on my show, and my producer asked me, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months ago. She was like, hey, what would be your answer? And I'm like, I'm shocked that I don't get more by Apple, by, you know, the tip-offs, you know.
Yeah.
And she was like, ha ha ha, what's your real answer? I'm like, I think that's my real answer, you know. Now, the answer that you're looking for is some heartfelt, okay, I'll give it to you.
There you go.
Go for it. You can freaking do it. Now, I just explained to you that I had a kind of an abnormal thought around I can go do it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I always had confidence with it, or that I never had this like shaky, like, I don't know. And so in the process of telling my 20-year-old self, go for it, you can do it, I just would have said, it's going to be a whole lot bigger than you can even see. So really go for it. Like, just take limitations off, take the blinders off, take what you think is even possible off. Even though it's bigger than most people around you, it's tiny in comparison to what will be. So just remove it and just go for it.
Yeah. So if you could see any event in human history that happened on this planet, one event, where would you go? What are you going to see?
I'm going to see Jesus dying on the cross.
Okay. Right.
And the emotion of that moment, and the different groups of people, some mocking him, some crying, some confused, some who's this guy, right? And just being in that moment, feeling what's happening, knowing what is actually happening. Powerful. I get emotional. I'm not an emotional guy at all. Like I use a personality assessment called Culture Index, and there's a logic score. I'm pretty high logic.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of heart in this Tin Man. But when I think about that moment in time, it is difficult to not go, wow, the pain, the suffering, the endurance. Yeah, pretty powerful.
Absolutely. So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm a builder. I know I'm a builder. And that perception is the only one that matters. Yes, I love my wife and I appreciate her perspective of me, and the same with my kids and a few other people that I keep close. But that perception that I have of myself is the only one that matters. And I am a builder. I'm a builder of assets. I'm a builder of wealth. I'm a builder of my family. I'm a builder of my marriage. I'm a builder of my children. I'm a builder. I'm building humans right now. We're building a relationship.
Right. Absolutely. So let me ask you this. What's your take on this Chiefs season?
I hope they win. I went to a couple of great games last year. But I have to digress, unfortunately, and take some steam out of your question, because I'm the guy for years now, even when I had a job, and, people came to the office on Monday and we were all either fired up or sad based on what had happened the day before. And I just have always ascribed to the thought that, it's funny, Joe, I didn't see any red jerseys that had Wolf on the back.
Right.
And so although I appreciate the Chiefs, I love watching Mahomes, the what is happening is history right before our eyes. It's incredible. That's happening right here. It's great for the city. It's great for business. It's great for community. It's great for, belief. All of that is amazing. But Sundays and every other day of the week, I'm cheering for Wolf. And that includes me, and of course my family, the generations that I'm building ahead of me. But I get just way more excited about the jersey that has my name on it.
I dig it. Chaz, if anyone wants to dig into your world, contact you, anything about your world, where do they go?
They can go to chazwolfe.com, or they can go to gatheringthekings.com if they're an entrepreneur looking to get around other key entrepreneurs looking to go to the next level.
Chaz Wolfe, you got a great handle, man. Thank you so much for taking time out today. Best of luck with everything. It's so good to see a local here in the middle of the map.
I appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you, Chaz. Take care, man.
Bye-bye.